morning or afternoon. I think we're right on that borderline moment. But thank you everybody for being here today in Edmonton for what I think is a very exciting announcement for the province of Alberta and for Canada on work that we continue to do on housing in our province. Before we talk about the announcement today, I also think taking a moment to celebrate the extraordinary work that's been taking place all across Alberta when it comes to housing over the last several years is worth doing right now. Alberta continues to break records each and every quarter for the last several years, continues to lead the country in per capita housing starts. The momentum has continued into this year, which we are excited about. We're seeing historic growth for the first time, not only leading per capita, but leading on total numbers of builds inside the country. Despite making up less than 13% of Canada's population, during Q1, Alberta built more than 25% of all the houses in our country. And that has paid off. It has seen results in affordability in our markets taking place now. Rent has decreased in the province 6% since last year. In Calgary, where we'd seen some of the largest rent increases, it has now decreased by 10%. In Edmonton, we've seen a 1% decrease, and Edmonton always follows pretty shortly the rest of the market. And that makes us very, very excited in Alberta. And we will continue to work very closely with our municipal partners and with the construction and the building industry across the province to continue to make more units, because that's what creates stability long term as we are able to increase supply. And I want to also take a quick moment and recognize our municipal partners who have worked very, very closely with the provincial and federal government to create that investment environment, that construction environment that ultimately is providing more affordability across the system. Now, in Alberta, we also recognize that investing just in market housing or creating the circumstances for others to invest in market housing is not the only thing that we need to do. We need to continue to work and support the creation of specific affordable housing units to be able to supplement that market. Since 2019, Alberta is very proud to have created more than 5,200 more units of affordable housing in our province. And today, I'm very excited to be here to announce that we are going to continue that work as we come into the next several fiscal years. Together with our partners, as I've said many times, we are in the process of investing $9 billion over the next, between now and 2031, to create 25,000 more affordable housing units. And today, I'm here to announce that with the Affordable Housing Partnership Program, in our latest intake of applications with our partners, the Government of Canada, we will be announcing a $203 million investment in affordable housing in our province. The 25 projects that will receive funding from this will create another 2,300 affordable housing units all across Alberta. This is the largest investment by the province that the province has made in the HPP program, and is an increase of $50 million compared to last year. This investment is critical to ensuring that low-income individuals in our province have access to safe, quality housing to be able to make sure that they can live their best lives in the province of Alberta. Examples of these projects are right where we're at today with William Hall. We'll be investing $4 million in this project, which will create affordable housing that will support young adults, students, and individuals who are facing rent barriers. Another example, though, will be Onward, who's also with us today, where we're building 3 affordable housing projects in Calgary, which will help vulnerable Albertans that find themselves facing homelessness right now to be able to find homes. And there are many, many examples. I can't go through the list, but I chose those 2 to show you the wide variety of focuses that we have when it comes to investing in affordable housing. We're very excited about the work that continues to take place in the province, and I need to stress that this is one area where we continue to see pretty significant partnership between the province of Alberta and the federal government. And a strong dedication by both governments to continue to invest in housing to make sure that Canada can continue to move forward, particularly in places like Alberta, where we see unprecedented growth. And I'm excited today that we have Minister Olszewski, who is with us today. She's the Federal Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience. And she is also the local MLA for the, MP for the area that we're in. And she has joined us for this announcement today on behalf of the federal government. And I'd ask her if she's got a moment to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Tansi Tawau. It's honestly just an honor and a pleasure to be here. On behalf of my colleague, Minister Gregor Robertson, it's a pleasure to join Minister Nixon Ivan Beljan, and everyone at Panyota Developments and Construction this morning. You know, housing really, we can talk about it in terms of housing starts or units, but housing provides so much more to our communities. It's a space for families to grow together, and it's a major propeller of industrial and economic development in a community. So in Canada, responsibility for housing is a shared responsibility between all levels of government. So it really requires great cooperation and coordination. The PM has said many times that our government is committed to building better, building faster, building more housing than we ever have done before. And he's emphasized that many, many times. But we can't do it alone. It takes the power and the leadership of a province like Alberta to help tackle the housing crisis. And that's why I'm so honored and pleased to be here today. So on behalf of my colleague, the Honorable Gregor Robertson, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, and as Minister Nixon has already said, I'm so pleased to announce funding in the amount of $203 million jointly with the province of Alberta to help build over 2,300 affordable homes across Alberta. So this joint investment will have a huge impact on our communities, and especially those hit hardest by the housing crisis. And projects like this one will really be transformative for families in Edmonton and across the province. And it will really help bring us closer to a future where every Albertan has a safe and a secure place to call home. The funding is made possible through a Canada-Alberta bilateral agreement, and it's a 10-year agreement investing $678 million in cost match funds. So with respect to those monies, it's also part of the National Housing Strategy, and that's our government's 10-year plan to help Canadians build stable, secure, and prosperous lives. It's a really ambitious housing plan, and we're just getting started. And I think it shows you that when governments choose to lead and to work together, we can do really big things. And of course, when we build homes, we're also building up our Canadian housing industry. And that includes Canadian technology, using Canadian employees, Canadian workers, and relying on Canadian lumber. So through design, through to construction, this is really also about creating good jobs, supporting local economies, and delivering the homes that people need. It's also about building a stronger Canada where every partner, federal, provincial, is pulling in the same direction. It's really an honor to be here today. Congratulations to everyone involved. Thank you. Merci.
Well, thank you for that very much, Minister. I often talk about the important partnership that we have with both our nonprofit sector and our for-profit sector across the entire social service ministry, including the health sector, of one of the things that our ministry is responsible for when it comes to continuing care. And without the 6,000 plus partners that we work with each and every day, we could not provide the extraordinary amount of services that we're able to provide for Albertans, in particular when it comes to building excellent housing projects. And we have two great partners that are with us here today to talk about the impact of this announcement and the work that they're going to do with that investment to be able to continue to make sure that we can create the most affordable place to live in the country right here in this province. And one of those individuals is with us today is Ivan Beljan, who's the president of Belgian Development, and William Hall Limited, to come and share some words about their important work and how this announcement will impact them.
Thank you, Minister Nixon, and good morning to everyone here. Firstly, I just want to congratulate all the great projects and recipients that will be providing affordable housing options throughout Alberta. What great news for our province. Where we are all standing today was at one-time home of the YMCA for close to 70 years. Many Albertans have a special connection here, whether it was taking swimming lessons as a child, as our former Mayor Iveson once told us, using the residential accommodations as newcomers to the province, or where the good people of the YMCA administered programs and services. When we acquired the building a few years back, we held the belief that the story of the Y and their focus on young and youth was something that had to be part of the next chapter. Whenever we embark on bringing a building back to life, we pay special attention to honoring the past and understanding how it may play a role in the future. We named the building Williams Hall in honor of the founder of the YMCA, George Williams, who created the first YMCA in London in 1844. With that in mind, we knew that the spirit of this new vision would involve focusing on young adult Albertans and providing them a space where they can start their adult lives on the right foot, whether they are upgrading their high schooling, going to post-secondary, or beginning their careers in the job market. As news of affordability became a topic countrywide, affordable housing became a topic countrywide, and the state of our downtown was at a very low point, it became clear to our team that Williams Hall had a chance to address both these areas. We spent a number of months envisioning the project and how we might position this building to help in both these very important areas. We inquired with the province and the Affordable Housing Partnership Program administrators on how we might get involved with affordable housing. There was a shared desire to work together and see a private development in the heart of our capital city succeed. We spent months understanding the program benchmarks and requirements and worked hand in hand with the provincial team finding a way forward. We are beyond delighted and honored that Williams Hall was selected as a grant recipient and hope to become a catalyst for other like projects to also come forward. We know that affordable housing will be a provincial priority for many years to come. Today's announcement is a huge step forward in meeting the massive need of affordable housing options for all Albertans. But we know the work is nowhere near complete and will take a consistent joint effort if we are to remedy this. We all deserve a chance at being the best version of ourselves. That only happens when people have an affordable, safe, and warm environment to call home. Let's all work together in continuing to find all Albertans that safe and affordable home. Thank you.
And also we have with us today the Chief Operating Officer of Onward Homes Society, Chris Slater, to come and share some words. Another really important partner of the department, and we'll be able to take you through some of the very creative ways that we continue to work together to be able to provide affordable homes for people here in Alberta.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here today on behalf of Onward Homes and to be a part of this exciting announcement under the Affordable Housing Partnership Program. We are proud to stand with our non-profit housing colleagues and alongside leaders from both the provincial and federal governments. Leaders who are showing us what true partnership means, a true belief that everyone deserves a safe, appropriate, and affordable place to call home. These investments go beyond bricks and mortar. They're about people, about dignity, and about what is possible when we prioritize stable housing as a foundation for well-being and belonging. At Onward, we witness these possibilities every day. A single mother who once lived in her car with her children, now watching them thrive in school because they have a front door that locks and a kitchen table to gather around. A senior who was isolated and on the brink of homelessness, now part of a secure and supportive community. A newcomer family navigating the challenges of a new country with a stable home to begin building a new life. These are not rare stories. These are quiet, everyday reminders of the transformative power of home. And none of this happens without leadership that looks beyond the dollars and cents, leadership that sees the impact on all of these humans. When all orders of government come together with organizations like Onward, we create not only housing, but a sense of community, belonging, and hope for a brighter future. Thank you.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for being here today for the exciting announcement. And I think that Amber will, I know Amber will take us through a Q&A if anybody would like. Amber?
Yes, that brings us to the end of the formal portion of today's announcement. We're going to enter the media Q&A portion. We're going to start with one question, one follow-up each. Please state your name and outlet before asking a question. We're going to start with media in the room. Please line up at the mic as you are doing, and then we'll go to media on the line. First question.
Hi, Sean Amato with City News. Question for you, Minister. I wanted to get your thoughts on Edmonton's infill debate. Some councillors say there's a housing crisis in Edmonton. We need 8 units mid-block in Edmonton. Others say that's just too much. As somebody that, obviously wants everybody to have a home, how do you feel about this?
Well, first let me say that there's the success we've seen in Alberta has been as a result of all of our municipalities, but particularly Calgary and Edmonton city councils, working very closely with the government through my department, who's ultimately responsible for housing, but as well municipal affairs, to create the investment and create the investment space, the regulatory space that has allowed this to take place. Not just staggering numbers, but 1/3 of all builds being purpose-built rentals. And without things like infills, we won't see that take place. Now, specifically what's best for Edmonton, I don't want to step on my colleagues on Edmonton Council's toes. They have to figure out what is best for the city of Edmonton, but we need to create more density in places like Edmonton and Calgary. It's just a fact. And now that has to be balanced with things like parking spaces and access to transit and all of those issues. And so I don't think it's as simple as just saying one blanket solution for all these cities. Some of this, I think, has to be about making sure that we create that environment in places where you could maybe, for example, have better access to transit, which would address some of the parking concerns, the traffic concerns that some communities will see. But there is no way forward without the municipalities taking seriously things like infills. I'm not going to speak of whether it should be 8 or 6. I just don't feel qualified enough to do that. I think they got to work through that with their municipal planning individuals that are involved. But from the position of the provincial government, certainly, and I think every federal colleague that I've had in the housing file agrees, we have to continue to create an environment that we can build cities up. Now to say that beyond the large cities becomes even more complicated. My hometown of Sundre has got a housing crisis the same as Edmonton, but our solutions are going to be very, very different for those communities. But in general, though, we need to build more.
Do you have a follow-up?
I do. So right now there are some folks on AISH and some people who advocate for them who are not very pleased with your government. They say you're raising their rents. You're not allowing them to keep the $200 bump by the federal government. How do you respond to this criticism? Some people are saying that your government is cruel and these people are not going to be able to make ends meet.
Well, let's start with rent. So first of all, the standard across the country when it comes to creating affordable housing units is 30% of one's income for rent. That means if you make $100, the max that you should be paying for rent inside an affordable housing program is $30. And we have seen a situation in Alberta where there were discrepancies in the regulations that resulted in certain individuals who are on income supports associated with the government of Alberta paying significantly less than families who are working that had to make space for affordability within their budget. Put another way, sometimes individuals on AISH were paying 17% rent for certain affordable housing units, while a single mother working 2 jobs was paying 30%. During the process of the Stronger Foundations Plan, the Alberta Plan for Housing over the next 10 years, our housing providers, our housing authorities, and others who work in the affordable housing space were clear that we had to balance that regulation across the system. We've met the 30% that the rest of the country does, and all that has taken place is to balance out that regulation. I also want to be very clear that does not mean that rents in those units go up. It's very, very specific about how much of an individual's income can go to rent when they're in a subsidized situation associated with the government of Alberta. And all this has done is take our province in line with every other province and is part of the overall plan to be able to create more housing. Now, there are some concerns that have been raised. Potentially this could result in evictions. The department has strong plans on eviction prevention, uses it each and every day through the Department of Income Supports. We don't want to see anybody being evicted that finds himself in that situation, and the department would step in to stabilize that rent situation for those individuals. They do so all the time. On AISH and the CDB, the Canadian Disability Benefit, Alberta continues to be the leader in this space. Some are coming in around $2,300 a month. for our individuals who are on AISH. The next closest province in Ontario West, I think, is BC. They're just shy of $500 less than us. Ontario is almost $600 less than us. The federal government is a couple $100 less than us. One of the biggest challenges that individuals on AISH face is when they turn 65 and they move off AISH onto the federal disability program, they see a significant reduction in their monthly rate because the federal government is nowhere near the level that we're at. We will continue to have the most significant and highest AISH payment in the country. We're committed to that. We've indexed the AISH rate, and we're very happy to see the federal government finally stepping up into that space. And we would look to other provinces to start to move closer to where Alberta's at, and not create that discrepancy across the country. But that's where our commitment is at the moment. And as things develop, we'll make adjustments. Some people may call on us to try to match Ontario. To be clear what that would mean meaning that I would reduce AISH payments by $600 a month. That's what matching the rest of the country is. I won't do that. We're proud to have the highest payments. I'm proud to be the social services minister with the highest disability payments in the country, and we're going to continue to do that.
Michelle?
Hi, Michelle Belfontaine from CBC. So, Minister, I've been looking at the affordable housing numbers in your annual reports. In 2021-22, there were 912 new builds, 22-23, 450 new builds or refurbished units, 23-24, 641 new or refurbished, and 24-25, 388 new units. And so that's a total of 2356. So I'm wondering, the numbers seem to be going down, and I'm wondering if you could explain why that is.
Well, again, we don't look at this process on an annual rate. I understand why you would. We're focused on our plan between now and 2031 to create 82,000 more units. Since 2019, we created 5,200 more units in affordable housing. Units, which is something like triple what the previous government would have done before 2019. We're on track with investments like today to bring on just over another 2,000 plus units with this investment today. And I'm very confident that we're on track to exceed our goal in 2031 of 82,000 more units of affordable housing in the province. There's things under construction all across the province. It takes some time to do that. And that's what my focus is on, whether or not we're going to meet our goal. And the department tells me that we're ahead of our schedule to be able to meet that goal of 82,000 more affordable housing units, including rent support units, in the province of Alberta by 2031.
Yeah, but those numbers that you were citing also includes people who are getting rent supplements, right? I'm focusing on brand new units, which is what we're hearing that we need, because there just isn't enough supply. And there's a lot of people on waiting lists. So
well, but I'll clarify that, and I won't. You can get a follow-up too. I'm not taking away from that, Michelle. But to be clear, rent supplement units are new units. So taking a unit on that it would be in the open market and creating a rent supplement for that unit creates an affordable unit that would not have been affordable before this. A rent supplement is how we build many of these projects. It's what creates a situation for our nonprofit partners to build projects like you see today, knowing that we are going to subsidize that market discrepancy to create that unit to be affordable for individuals. So from the perspective of the department, new and rent supplement units are the same thing. Our job is to create 82,000 more affordable units of housing in this province that are supplemented or supported by the province of Alberta and the federal government at times to be able to make sure people have those units. So I would take dispute that a rent supplement unit is not a new unit in the affordable housing context. If we were trying to compare this to overall market housing, I would certainly agree with you. But when we take a unit out of the market and make it an affordable unit through rent supplements, we're creating a new affordable housing unit.
And my next question is, I mean, as you well know, I mean, affordable housing can be the range of somebody paying, you know, maybe 80% of market rates, 60% of market rates. And then there's community housing where people pay 30% of what they make, right? And there seems to be not as much housing in that realm. And so I'm wondering, you know, these numbers that we're seeing in the annual report, I mean, how does that help those people that, you know, really can only afford to pay 30% of what they earn? So,
Michelle, if I'm hearing your question, you're asking how the rest of the work that's taking place in the market side helps those people? Is that, I just want to make sure I caught you.
I mean, in terms of new builds, I mean, in terms of what we're seeing, you know, like announcements like today and other announcements, other bills, I know that the government currently has about 1,626 units that are in progress right now. So I'm just wondering if you can tell me, you know, what proportion of that, if you know, would be actually that 30% threshold.
When we build affordable housing, when we say we're building an affordable housing unit, even if we're building it with a partner, it falls within that that 30% threshold. That's the definition of affordable housing in the context that we're saying it. When you hear the Premier and I say attainable housing, then we're referring to the market side of housing, which is trying to stabilize rent for those who are not requiring subsidized housing, but we do have an overall affordability challenge. So the answer to the question is all of those fall within that space if we're defining them as affordable housing, which was to my point, Michelle, when I say our goal is 82,000 new affordable housing units. That's within the context of that 30% threshold. Now, but we do have to also be clear that when we build market housing at the rate that we see in this province, with the dedication of all levels of government to do so, we also restore stability to those affordable housing units by being able to create more. My investment dollar, on behalf of the taxpayer, goes further every time I can lower rent. So it doesn't change the situation for those that we're helping subsidize, but it certainly changes the situation on where the Alberta taxpayer dollar can go, which is why we've been focused on doing both at once. When you see a reduction in rent in Calgary by 10%, that has an impact through the traditional affordable housing system as well, because our dollar can go 10% further.
Next question.
Cabby Murray there with Global. Thanks for taking my questions. This might actually be a question for one of the developers, but I'll just throw it out there anyways. I want to narrow down on this specific area for William Hall. So I believe this was a project that started a few years ago. So I kind of just want to get an update in terms of how many units are going to be in this particular building, and if has it been on track, are there delays, and how you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, to answer the first part of your question, we're going to have 90 affordable units available. Our target market is young adults. In terms of the lifespan of this project, it started before COVID. It's had many iterations. The environment has made us navigate through that, and ultimately we are now on track to deliver these units by next Q3 2026.
Gotcha. And are you able to tell us, I guess, in terms of, this is the provincial, I guess it's for the Minister Nixon here, just a breakdown in terms of the spending for this between the provincial government and the federal government?
Well, as the Minister said, this is an agreement, a 10-year agreement between us and the federal government called the Alberta Affordable Housing Partnership Program, and it's matching dollars, so 50-50 between us and the federal government. There's a lot of projects involved. We can give it to you real quick on the way out. We have them with us. It would probably be easier than me trying to list them all, and then I end up missing one of those projects. I will also say that one of the great advantages, though, of this partnership is that it ends up with both federal and provincial dollars in it, but also this is often a strong municipal partnership and or other nonprofit partnership that's helping take that money even further, which is why we like to use this program. So often you'll see a circumstance that a local housing authority on a senior lodge through municipal funding will donate the land as an example, or provide the land, and then the federal government and the province come in and provide the other 2/3. So it's a very good program as far as being able to capitalize on investment at multiple different levels of governments and organizations to get good results. On the way out, though, we'll get you the full list of projects. Got a follow-up? Well, I guess that was your follow-up. But.
That was the follow-up. Seeing no more media queued in the room, we're going to go to media on the line. Operator, can you put through the first caller?
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News.
I'm actually hoping I could direct this one to the Honorable Eleanor Olszewski. Wondering if there's any reaction from the federal government regarding Trump's latest announced threat of a 35% tariff.
Thank you. The question is in relation to the most recent announcement with respect to Trump tariffs. What I can say to that is that the federal government, the Prime Minister and a number of my colleagues are working very diligently to deal with the tariff threat. These tariffs are illegal, they're inappropriate. We need to protect Canadians from the tariffs, and we will do everything possible to ensure that we do that. Thank you.
Do you have a follow-up, Stephanie?
For my follow-up, yes. For my follow-up, I'd like to ask about specific sectors that the federal government is looking to protect in terms of Alberta's exports. I know that our energy, our oil and gas, and also our cattle and wheat is often given or traded with our neighbors to the south. So are you working with any local area stakeholders in your constituency to help ensure Canada's protected?
We are indeed. A number of my colleagues are, in fact, working with provincial authorities across the country in order to deal with the tariff threat. And you would have heard the Prime Minister announce, I believe it was part of platform, but it was certainly announced after that as well. We are looking at tariff relief programs that will be applicable to businesses in particular sectors that are the hardest hit by the tariffs. And so, you know, I think really we need to wait and see what happens on July 21st with respect to the ongoing negotiations between our government and President Trump, and just see what happens on that date. But certainly in the meantime, protecting Canadian industry in all affected sectors is top of mind and top priority for the government. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more media queued in the room or on the line, that brings us to the end of today's announcement. If you had a question that we didn't get to, my contact information is at the bottom of the accompanying news release. Thank you very much.